Hi,
Hi.
Ariana. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to
Hey,
meet
great
you
to
too.
meet
What's
you.
going on?
Not too much. So, why did you guys decide to join this show in the first place?
Get it, Brian.
I mean, wouldn't you? Come on, like this show is like crazy town in the best possible way. Like I just like it's one of those shows that when you say the name of it, it immediately and I feel like Kyle and you may have experienced this in the past few months as we've been leading up to this. People are like, I'm sorry, what? Human
Yeah,
what? So I
yeah.
mean, it's so rare nowadays because I feel like we've all seen it all. We've all seen it all on TV, and my dog just walked into the room, and he
Hey.
even said, "What?"
Yeah.
So I just feel like there's something so unique about it that why not be a part of it? It just sounded so crazy fun, and it turned out it was exactly that. I really thought it was everything I could have hoped for.
I agree with Brian. The reason I wanted to get into it to do it is the same reason someone might get into it to watch it. You hear the name, and I heard the name. I was like, wow, that's a cool name. And you're scanning around your TV, you see human versus hamsters. I got to at least look at the trailer for this. We
Yep.
saw kind of a version of a trailer of a video. It looks incredible,
Yeah.
creative, colorful. So you're watching the trailer at home and you're like, I have to watch the first episode. And then eight episodes later, you've watched them all. It was just like a very comparative to anybody who's at home, heard the name, saw the concept, saw the kind of flavor of it, and wanted to be part of it and didn't want to take no for an answer.
Yep.
Yes. So, Kyle, for you, how did your football commenting experience and skills help you to comment on human versus hamster?
I thought it was going to, and I think that's why I got the job, but the joke was on them because it didn't help at all. The second I got there, it was completely out because I can commentate and opine on Eagles versus Commanders, but the idea of humans rolling down in giant inflatable bowling balls to knock over pins and then immediately being followed by hamsters doing the same and having it be this really competitive thing, all the football familiarity goes out the window, and you just have to completely ad lib. Not to mention I've got Technicolor Sarah Sherman next to me, just like on her own planet, in a wonderful planet that is. It's not like being with most of the football people that I'm with. She's a little bit different than most football commentators. So it was a totally new experience. I only used to get the job after that. I was on my own.
Yes. Brian, you've been a host and a leader in a lot of pop culture things. How did you become a hamster expert?
Hmm.
A lot of pain like tireless research. I heard about the show and I was immediately like drawn to it, and so I like kind of like made as much noise as I could about my passion for wanting to try out, and so I did a fair amount of research to be ready for it. And I previously hosted a special that was dogs and cats on a football field, not at the same time, but separately, like different quarters of a football game. And so I felt like I was still riding the high off of that. So I was like, wait, I want to be part of this hamster show. So it was like the first time I really made some noise, like see if I could see how I could get involved in it, because I think the concept is just brilliant. I just think it's such a fun thing for families to watch together.
Yes. What, when you were doing the research and Kyle, when you were on set and hearing all these hamster facts, what was kind of the most interesting hamster fact?
The one that keeps coming up is that they sweat out of their feet because I don't know anything. And Brian, you can confirm, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
said it. Yeah. What do you think? I just making stuff up?
No, I want to make sure I have it right. I want to make sure I have it right because I wasn't the expert. But like there's an easy way for someone to do Brian's job if they wanted to mail it in. And you just go to the hamster Wikipedia page and just scan it a few times, come up with a few things. Like Brian went deep. I think Brian's publishing books on this. Like there
Oh
are
yeah.
zoology experts who are going to confirm with Brian. He knew all of the stuff. I think that was the most interesting. But the really the biggest takeaway from the hamsters hadn't have to do anything with the facts. It was just like those are competitive little buggers. Like
Yeah.
they did not want to lose. I feel like they could sense the competition. I feel like they could sense the humans.
Yeah.
And it's humans versus hamsters, and they're a proud little species, scrappy as all get out. And I think people might be surprised with how some of the results.
Yeah.
Yes. Brian, for you, what was the most interesting hamster fact that you learned?
Well, I thought it was interesting that a hamster can fit 20% of its body weight in its cheeks because it stores food, which is like whenever I go somewhere that has all you can eat shrimp, it's a similar effect. But and these hamsters though, like they trained these on these courses for 6 weeks before the competition.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, we can't verbally explain to a hamster. So we have to make sure it's as even a playing field for the humans versus the hamsters. So the humans can be told where to go, but the hamsters have to like learn the course first, get a little like food treat, to like understand it. So like to know where they're supposed to go. Otherwise they might just wander around. So like you can't explain it to them verbally. Food is their love language. Again, it's just like me. Food is my love language.
Yes.
You're not going to see me running on a treadmill for 2 to 8 hours a night, but the rest I have a lot in common with the hamsters.
Yeah. The one that I found most interesting was that their teeth always grow. Because I was like, that would
Mm.
actually be really useful for a human because we only get two sets of teeth and like we waste it
Right.
way early
Right.
on.
Right.
Right.
See, we're onto something. Maybe we can like gene splice, do a little DNA something or other
Yeah.
to make that happen. And that's why they keep eating and gnawing on things. They can cut through steel with their teeth.
It is crazy. Kyle, you had mentioned before that we were kind of surprised about the outcome because in the
Yeah.
title, I was like, oh, the humans are going to win.
Of
And
course.
from what I saw, it's a very tough competition. And I'm at this
Mhm.
point, I'm very much Team Hamster. When we were doing the first couple, were you kind of surprised that like the hamsters are very good at these, even though it's very equally paired? Like it's not
Yeah.
easier for the hamsters. It's very equal pairing. Were you surprised by the outcome while watching this?
I was
For both of
thrilled.
you.
I was pleased. I liked it. We've said it all together. It feels like we're betraying our own kind as we all are humans, but we were rooting for the hamsters for a
Yeah.
lot of it because I don't know, they're so undersized and they're so cute and they're just so determined. But if you think about it, there's weaknesses that humans have that hamsters don't. Like we're incredibly larger and maybe have more advanced brains, but hamsters aren't afraid of heights. They're
Mm-hmm.
not afraid of being under the lights and having people cheer for them. Like the humans, the stress kicked in and the nerves kicked in. And those hamsters, they're completely impervious. They were like little
Mhm.
Terminators by the end of it. At the end of it, we're like, oh, no mas, hamsters. The human race needs to get off the mat and fight back in this thing. It was really dramatic back and forth. We were all shocked with the end outcome of the 8 episodes, which I think the audience will be too.
Yes. Brian, were you surprised by the outcomes as well?
I think, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I think even like the producers, I can't speak for the producers, but I think there's always that risk that's like, what if the humans win all of these?
Yep.
That's a problem, right? Like if you're a producer, you're thinking, what are we going to do if the humans win all of them? And when I say they didn't win all of them. When I say it is such an evenly, you said it yourself. You said it perfectly. It is such an evenly matched competition that really anything can happen. And there's so many races where a hamster does something that you're thinking, oh, it's all over. They're like stopping to groom
Yeah.
itself, like, and then suddenly something happens, like the human, falls off a ledge. And then they have to start over, and the hamster's like back in the game, and that's
So
part of the
true.
excitement. So I love the fact that humans that watch this show will watch it and be like, I could do this. I could sign up. It's not like I love American Ninja Warrior. It's a great show, but I could never do that show. But I could do this show. I could do this course, and
Yeah.
I feel like parents will maybe root for the humans, and the kids might root for the hamsters. I don't know. I'm very curious to see who roots for who.
What course for each of you do you think you would be really good at, and which one do you think you would fail at?
What do
I'm
you
kind of
think, Brian?
cocky in this one, Kyle. I feel like I do very well on the last course. In fact, while you guys were working really hard, I snuck off on the last day of shooting and did as much of the final course, the finale, the big
Yeah,
one
of
for the
course.
big
Okay.
money.
Eliminator.
And I recorded me doing some of it. So that one, I feel like I could do all right on that one. I think harder would be the 3-story brownstone. That probably cost more money than my apartment. That's a big old building. What about you, Kyle?
Just the one that you just said, the apartment, not because it's a brownstone, but because I'm terrible at remembering my possessions. I've many times in my life I've left my keys behind or forgotten my phone or something like that. I have been the person climbing up the water spout or the rose trellis trying to get in my second floor apartment. I've done that. So I feel right at home at that sucker. I could dominate the hamsters there.
Yeah.
Is there one that you would be like the hamsters would win?
Hmm. Well, the
That pushing the car, that would be
pushing the
hard.
car was crazy because that you have to push your own body weight. So the humans had to push their body weight and the hamsters had to push theirs.
Mhm.
And they're just pound for pound stronger. And so
Mhm.
that's like, if you really get into the devil of the details and the genius of the show, of course there's funny optics and it's cute competition, but actually the physics of it and the anatomy and what they're capable of and humans and kind of you learn what we're not capable of. We can't push our body weight, and this tiny little
Right.
hamster that you
Yeah.
have in a cage can, and they dominate in that one. And I think that was a good call by Brian.
Yeah, I don't think I would be good at going into the bottle. I think claustrophobia would get the
Oh,
best of
yeah,
me.
that's hard.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
And I'm not doing the eating contest. Like I would
Oh,
just,
right.
yeah,
Right. I forgot about the eating. The eating is overwhelming. That's a lot.
Yeah.
yes,
The bottle is like going to have its own Reddit threads when this show is out. The
Mhm.
bottle is like it's going to tap into so many neuroses and nightmares for the humans. But again, the hamsters couldn't care less. Totally fearless, jump right in there. It's where they belong.
Yeah.
yes. So, Brian, you said that you had tried it, but in one of the earlier episodes, Kyle, you were saying, "Oh, why are you picking him to be not him, Brian, one of the
Right.
teammates to go
Yes.
into the final cage?"
That
If
was a
you guys,
controversial choice.
It was.
yes,
It
if
was.
you guys were made it to the cage and you guys were a team, who would you put in the cage?
In the final round, oh, Kyle,
Yeah.
hands down. Look at him. Look at
No,
Kyle.
no,
He
no.
was
I'm
on
going
the
to bat that right
NFL.
back.
Like, no, listen, I won a spelling bee once. That's as good as it gets. There's
Yeah,
no,
but
I don't
Brian
even,
knows how to spell victory. And I would tell it, I would say the hamsters loved Brian. He was one of them. He spoke for them. So I feel like if he had to compete against them, that they would do the honorable thing and allow Brian to win. Brian's going in. No further questions. That's it. Brian, you're in.
How
what?
did
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. What is that? Look at you. Look at your friend. See, I
how
remember
Yeah.
those.
did I don't know if you guys picked or the producers, how did they pick which hamster would compete? Because sometimes it would be a back to back, the same hamster. How would they pick which
Mhm.
hamster would compete?
What
I
do you
don't
think,
think
Brian?
it came into the show, Kyle. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that you see this scene in the show, but they would be able to choose a hamster based on like the trivia. Sometimes would give them an option of choosing their hamster. So in the beginning, they didn't have any knowledge of what hamsters were because some hamsters are better at
Mhm.
certain events than others, and they don't know that. The contestants don't know that. So they would be initially given the choice. I mean, I don't know that that part made it onto the show, but they were given a choice. And then later there was winning an event would give them the option of choosing, I believe. And then the other one that they didn't use would go to the other team. So there was a system in place so that it was kind of democratic and that they had, kind of choices. But the truth is you don't know who to choose. It doesn't matter,
Yes.
truthfully, because you don't know whether that hamsters are like us. Sometimes you have good days and bad days, right? And some of them are better at running and late. Kevin, the hamster Kevin was a little bit slower.
Legend. Yeah.
Nasher was a great eater. I'm trying to think. Turbo, I'm getting my names mixed up. It's been a minute. We haven't
Yeah.
stayed in touch. Some of the hamsters and I have lost touch, but some of them are fast, and so if you can think of anything by the name, that will help you decide.
Yeah. So the names actually
Oh,
were
yeah, correlate.
relevant.
They were named
Oh.
after their skills for the
Yes.
most part. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who would you want to go up against?
Mhm. Well, Kevin for sure. Kevin had some
The
limits.
Nepo baby?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
nepo baby. I'll go against that on mine because Kevin is only in the position he's in because of the nepotism. Physically, he really doesn't have his act together. I don't think between the ears he's incredibly intelligent either. And yet, will be a fan favorite. Will be the
Yeah.
favorite hamster because Kevin's just going to Kevin himself. I could probably beat him, but I would just be rooting for him the whole time. Likable hamster.
Yeah. Would you rather go against a hamster or Sarah
In what?
Oh.
In
in
what?
any of the competitions? You can pick the
Oh God,
competition.
Sarah. There will never be a show called The Hamsters versus Sarah or Brian and Kyle versus Sarah because she wouldn't make it 10 feet into the
Yeah,
thing.
she does not.
She's
not
not
interested
into
in
it.
that.
Brian, I mean, back me up here. Yeah,
No,
anybody
and
could-
if she were here to say that, she would say the exact same thing. There's just no way she was not. But she was great on that podium, but she would not be climbing the building.
Yes.
But you did bring up, Kyle, that she is a track star, so maybe that would come back up
Yeah.
again.
You know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that. I want, if nothing else from this show, I want the world to know that Saturday Night Live's crazy Sarah Sherman was a high school track star, not a track athlete, a star. And it will be my mission to make sure everybody knows that.
What did she run? What was her event?
It was, I think, the 400 meter, like really like an
Wow,
intense event.
that's impressive.
I think it makes it on the show because Ariana obviously knows it. So the world will know Sarah Sherman. She's so funny and creative, and she is, but believe me, she was a jock back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well,
Love it.
thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Congrats on this show. I can't wait to talk to you about it again and future projects.
Ariana,
Thank
great
you.
job.
Great
Great
to meet you.
questions. Really
Oh,
good job.
thank you. I appreciate it. You guys have
Thanks
a
for
good
having
one.
us.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.